Si comes tienes que lavar tu plato, Firulais. Anda, enjuágalo bien. No me gruñas. A ver, con la esponja eso. Y enjuaga bien que luego deja todo jabonoso. Eso así, muy bien, aunque de malas.
Welcome to the motherfucking lady. We're covering today's top boxing news.
Okay, we'll start with this. The unfortunate story that broke yesterday. Charles Medina has been charged over the death of Hannah Rapp. 5 things about the man who hit boxer with car in Brazos County. Charles Medina was charged over the death of boxer Hannah Rapp in Brazos County, Texas, for backing his vehicle up and hitting her while she was cycling. Charles Medina...
Give him the chair!
Hannah Rapp, 26, was on her cycle when Medina passed her and another cyclist by in his vehicle. He then stopped, backed up, and hit one of the cyclists. Authorities responded to a major crash at the 23,000 block of FM 159 just before 10 a.m. on Saturday, July 18th. Though Rapp got medical attention at the scene and was transported to a hospital nearby, she died there later.
Senseless.
The Brazos County Sheriff's Office released a statement about the case. During the course of the investigation, investigators learned that the driver of the vehicle, identified as 31-year-old Charles Medina, had passed 2 bicyclists traveling along FM 159. After passing the bicyclists, Mr. Medina stopped his vehicle, reversed, and struck one of the cyclists. At this time, investigators believe this was an isolated incident. The investigation remains active and ongoing as detectives continue to gather evidence and review all available information, authorities said. As per the detention center records, no bond has been set in Medina's case after he was booked on July 18th. It was the sheriff's office that identified Rapp as the victim, and they wrote, "The Brazos County Sheriff's Office extends its deepest condolences to the family and friends of Hannah Rapp during this difficult time." Hannah Rapp, who not that long ago challenged for a world title in the women's featherweight division against Tiara Brown.
We just saw her.
Several people reacted to the news of Hannah Rapp's demise. This is such a huge loss for our community, for the boxing world, but mostly for all who love her. Horribly, devastatingly tragic. I'm praying for all who are grieving. Rest easy, champ, one wrote. Another added, "Oh no, that's so sad. I just saw her at Reggie's gas station before the incident. I just can't believe she's gone. Rest in peace, Hannah." Meanwhile, another wondered why Medina was not charged with murder. "I don't understand why it says manslaughter. This piece of shit murdered her," they wrote. However, authorities have not shared a motive for why Medina decided to hit the cyclists with his vehicle. I remember a similar story a few months ago about 2 teenagers who ran over an elderly man quite deliberately in what was a stolen vehicle. And he, like Hannah Rapp, was riding his bicycle in the wee hours of the morning when these 2 teenagers decided to run him down. There is no justification for such a course of action, but there are elements to the story that remain a mystery. Was there some interaction between Hannah and Charles that led him to do this? If there was,
Like I said, there's no justification for what this asshole decided to do, but it would shed light on why exactly it happened. They're calling it manslaughter, but it seems like a homicide case.
now I'm no legal eagle, I'm no attorney, but I think where manslaughter differs from an outright homicide cases, manslaughter can be inadvertent, not on purpose, whereas homicide is very much deliberate and by design, so that if the operator of a vehicle makes a conscious decision to run into a pedestrian, whether they're going forward or going in reverse, that is premeditated.
And I think that meets the elements of a homicide case. You hit somebody with a car, what do you think is going to happen to them?
The situation that unfolded in Minneapolis between Renee Good and that ICE agent. She made a decision to hit the gas and try to peel off with that ICE agent being in the path of said vehicle. That was interpreted as an attempt on his life. Thus, he opened fire.
What does that got to do with this?
A motorist making a decision like that can only be interpreted so many ways, so that when a Charles Medina decides to back into a cyclist, it can only be because he intended to hurt her. He intended to kill her. And would that not meet the criterion for a homicide case.
That this was very much deliberate. He knew what he was doing. He knew what he meant to do.
Something must have already been wrong with this guy if he would have decided to do something like that. Something psychological, some sort of anger issues.
Who takes it upon themselves to back into a fucking cyclist? A fucking psychopath.
They throw the book at him. If they don't give him the lethal injection, if they don't give him the chair, throw him under the jail.
It's very unfortunate. There's no bright side to this case. This girl was young, only 26, seemed like a good kid, and it's just a senseless death.
So the boxing world now mourns the untimely death of Hannah Rapp. Rest in peace. In men's junior middleweight news, the father of Vergil Ortiz Jr., Vergil Ortiz Sr., took to his social media to make a couple of important details known. He said, imagine asking for this fight being a Fundora fight, a bunch of times cause you're next as interim, but are told no, cause Samson said no.
What the fuck?
Now his excuse is cause his woman's feelings relationship runs deep with Golden Boy, Vergil's promoter, then told, don't say anything. What did I tell you? What the fuck did I tell you? Didn't I tell you guys ages ago that there's likely some sort of backdoor deal to keep Vergil off of Sebastian Fundora's neck, based on the relationship that Samson Lewkowicz has with Golden Boy Promotions?
Many times have you heard me say that, because you know I have a habit of repeating myself.
Vergil Ortiz Sr. expounded. He was told not to say anything or it'll butt hurt him and you won't get the fight. Sounds like he gets to bend the rules. He then says Vergil doesn't sell or make any money. Show us what Fundora makes and I'll show juniors.
I'm pretty sure that Vergil Ortiz makes more money than Sebastian Fundora. I'm fairly confident.
So Fundora can question you, why he makes half of what Vergil does. Samson is why Vergil hasn't gotten his WBC shot. It makes you wonder how he can be buddy-buddy with Golden Boy from his own mouth, but Vergil can't get the fight. Not a shot at Golden Boy, but someone asks Samson how he does it. Vergil has always tried to fight for that belt, and now you know.
I actually believe Vergil Ortiz Sr. I believe everything he said.
Because that's what I've been saying. Samson doesn't want Sebastian to fight anybody good. He didn't want him to fight Crawford, and he didn't want him to fight Zayas. Now, he doesn't want him to fight Vergil. He doesn't want him to fight. What Vergil Ortiz Sr. was addressing here was a recent set of comments from Samson Lewkowicz about his son, that his son doesn't make any money, and because he had a rift with Golden Boy, he now has to wait 2 years for a Sebastian Fundora fight. We talked about it in my previous video.
That's what he's talking about, and it took Team Ortiz long enough to speak up.
What is compelling is he said they were instructed to keep their trap shut and not rock the boat, as it would hurt Vergil's chances of ever landing the fight, though 2 years after having become interim champion, staying silent doesn't seem to be helping his chances.
Not when Samson Lewkowicz wants to wait another 2 years before he does it. That's just another way of saying he never wants to make the fight, because in 2 years, a lot can happen.
You don't need Inspector Crusoe to know that Samson Lewkowicz wants to keep Sebastian away from any and every capable fighter at junior middleweight. That much is obvious. That much I already told you. The real blame doesn't actually fall on Samson, because it's not supposed to be up to him. It's supposed to boil down to the World Boxing Council, who has an interim champion and a full champion.
But you don't want to order the fight. You're collecting sanctioning fees from the both of them.
And that's what's in it for them. So long as they don't order the fight, they get the double dip. They get a little bit of money from Vergil, a little more from Sebastian, when the point of the interim title is to act as a segue to fight for the full one. And Team Ortiz, if you know that they're not going to order the fight because Samson Lewkowicz told them not to, what you're then supposed to tell them is take your belt and shove it!
For 2 years, the World Boxing Council has been collecting sanctioning fees from every one of Vergil Ortiz's fights following the Boachuk fight. But what's the point in giving these people any percentage of your purse if they're not going to do their job? The point isn't to become an interim champion, it's to become a full champion. And if you're not going to facilitate that,
then who needs the WBC? Responding to Sean Zettel, Sean, who queried, why would the World Boxing Council not order that fight? Vergil Ortiz Sr. said, Sean, that won't happen. Samson has blocked that fight for the past few. Ask him how he does it. We're all curious. Because he isn't doing this alone. He's doing this with the help of the World Boxing Council, who can order this fight whenever they feel like, because that's their job. Put Sebastian on the spot. Fight Vergil or drop the belt.
It's very simple. It's what the IBF would do in that situation. The WBO, they do it all the time. So why not the World Boxing Council? Why are they so selective, so picky, what fights they want to order and what fights they don't? You've had 2 years.
You're not going to convince anybody that at no point in the last 2 years was there time to order the fight. There was plenty of time. You didn't order it because you didn't want to, because you're a bunch of fucking crooks, because you're happy to collect sanctioning fees from all these different fighters
By not ordering the fight.
Which begs the question, if you're not going to facilitate the fights, you're not going to order them, then why should anybody be paying you sanctioning fees for anything? There are 3 other alphabet organizations just like yours, 2 of which are guaranteed to order a fight.
What I propose? Throw that belt in the garbage.
Nobody thinks you're a full champion at junior middleweight, you know. Nobody qualifies that interim title. Take it and bin it. Make a spectacle of it. Make it public. Post it on social media to send a clear message to the World Boxing Council.
If you're not gonna do what you're here to do, who needs you?
Fighters are starting to stand up to the WBC. It started with Canelo Alvarez back in 2016, continued with Terence Crawford and Shakur Stevenson not that long ago, and it would send a very strong message.
Take that interim title and chuck it.
We're not here to fight for secondary titles and interim titles. We want the full one. You know that. And the only reason you fight for the interim is to get to the full one. So that if 2 years go by and you don't order the fight because Sampson told you not to, then who the fuck needs you?
Cut him off. Take the money away. You might as well. You've been paying sanctioning fees towards nothing. Towards the equivalent of an empty promise, because the only reason you fight for the interim is to get at the full one.
That's the whole fucking point. Without that, there's no reason to do it. There's no reason to give the World Boxing Council any percentage of your fight purse.
You've got nothing to lose.
Except an interim title that doesn't do anything, but costs you about 3% every time you fight. Why should it? If it's not going to get you anything, tell the WBC to go fuck themselves, and I promise you, you'll get a profile boost immediately after that for standing up for yourself and not allowing them to give you the runaround, because that's what they're doing.
I feel like I have to be. And I don't know. It's a bit of a change of character. I'm just starting to care less and less, because at the end of the day, For instance, right? One, the fight doesn't happen with Vergil Ennis. Oh, I'm ducking the fight. Vergil Ortiz doesn't want to fight Vergil Ennis. Now we're calling him out. Oh, he's begging for the fight. What kind of logic is that?
Vergil might have had a point if all those criticisms were coming from the same person. What he's actually doing is conflating things.
You're taking one thing that one guy said and then another thing that another guy said and presenting it as if it all came from the same person. If it had, then that would be hypocritical. It wouldn't make a lot of sense.
But all that didn't come from the same person. That's what several different people are saying about the same fighter.
I just respectfully, that is just stuff that I deal with and other boxers deal with on a day-to-day basis. That doesn't make any kind of sense. I just don't understand how the gears are working up there. They're turning the wrong way. I don't get it. But anyways, I could keep on talking about this. Yeah.
The Boots fight obviously still generates the most interest out there, at least among the casual fans. You guys squared off in the ring after your win over Erickson Lubin. That seemed to build the momentum up to almost a fever pitch at that point. We've heard Rick Meridian say he wants that fight for you next. Oscar say he wants that fight for you next. Robert Garcia, I saw clips of him saying he's ready to do that fight with you and Boots next. Is that how you feel about it? You're ready to do that fight next?
I've been pushing for the fight. Every time they ask me, I give them the green light. It's only been one-sided green lights coming from out over here. The reason that the fight hasn't happened is simply because they haven't taken the fight.
No. The last time out, they took the fight, and it was all the stuff on your side that held it up, your rift. between, your team and Golden Boy Promotions as a promoter.
We didn't forget. Rick Merrigan wanted more money.
Now listen, Boots may have accepted the fight before, but it seems that he's not interested in it now.
He wants another belt.
And that's on him, but I don't think there's anything wrong with him pursuing another champion at the weight.
Eddie Hearn said this week that the deal that was agreed to prior to Boots' most recent fight is now no longer the deal that's in play. Effectively, Vergil, what he's saying is that there need to be concessions on your side. Are there concessions that you would be willing to make to get this deal done?
I mean, I want the fight to happen. That's kind of more of a manager question. You know what I mean? They just ask me if I want to fight. I say, yeah. They work out the numbers.
There's your problem, because that's what it is. That's what it is. When they ask you a question, you defer to your manager, to your promoter. When it's your boxing career, what do you want? And what are you willing to do to get the fight done? You're letting other people decide.
When Xander Zayas said that he'd be willing to fight Boots, he didn't defer to anybody else. His manager, his promoter, he wanted the fight, and he got the fight. And he's younger than you.
So there's no reason that you, at almost 30, can't take charge of your career and fight for what you want to fight for. Who you want to fight. The reason people are laying the blame at the feet of Vergil Ortiz for all the things that are not happening in his career is because the guy's almost 30. You can't keep hiding behind your manager and your promoter. If you want to fight, you ask for it, and you demand that they get it done.
Simple as. Xander Zayas fought Boots against Top Rank's Best Wishes. Stephen Fulton fought Inoue, and Spence fought Crawford against the PBC's Best Wishes. Canelo fought Lara
against Oscar's Best Wishes. It's up to you to take charge because it's your boxing career. You're not a child. Boxing insider Rick Glacier, reacting to this, said, "I'm glad to see Vergil Ortiz and Golden Boy are back on the same page, but now Boots Ennis is using the delay as an excuse to duck."
Duck? He's trying to unify.
That Vergil Ortiz smoke. The only fight of Boots and Vergil boxing enthusiasts want to see is those two fighting each other next. That's the only fight that matters presently for Boots and Vergil.
That's bullshit.
Thankfully, the DAZN executives will have a major say in the matter, as DAZN would be funding it, and that's very important. After all, it is called prize fighting.
No, it's called shilling, because you're of the opinion that Golden Boy Promotions should get whatever they want as soon as they want it for no other reason than they want it, and they're your buddies. Everybody in the boxing space can see it, Rick.
You're always shilling for Golden Boy Promotions, likely because you have some sort of business arrangement with them.
Rick Glacier blows hot and cold on certain subjects. Sometimes he's on the money, other times he's way off base. If Boots is prioritizing a unification match that can happen over a Vergil Ortiz fight, those are the breaks.
What do you expect? They've already tried to do this 2 times. How much more time is he supposed to waste on you, who doesn't even have a belt?
Better go get one.
Part of the reason that I wouldn't call it an according to Hoyle duck from Boots is because I actually think Boots beats Vergil. Now or later, he wins that fight. You should be thanking your lucky stars that he's giving you more time to get out there and become a champion yourself, win a belt, so you can bring something to the table, because right now, all you've got is your handout with nothing to offer.